Every day, without thinking about it, you repeat hundreds of actions. You wake up and check your phone. You brush your teeth the same way. You walk into the kitchen, grab a cup of coffee, maybe sit in the same chair you always sit in. You take the same route to work, scroll through the same apps, even say the same phrases in conversation without realizing it. These are habits. And what's fascinating is that most of what you do every single day is not the result of conscious decision-making. It's automatic. It's your brain running on autopilot. You think you're in full control of your choices, but in reality, a huge part of your life is simply a collection of patterns you've built over time. But why does this happen? Why do we form habits in the first place? The answer is simple but powerful: efficiency. Your brain is designed to save energy. It's always looking for ways to make life easier and less demanding. Every time you repeat an action in the same context, your brain builds a pathway. Over time, that pathway becomes stronger. Instead of wasting mental energy to make the same decision over and over, your brain turns it into an automatic routine. This is how habits are born. Think of it this way: your brain is like a powerful computer, but it has limited energy every day. So it creates shortcut scripts it can run without much thought. The more often you repeat a behavior, the deeper that script gets coded. Soon, it takes more energy not to do the habit than to just go along with it. That's why breaking a habit feels so difficult. It's not just willpower, it's biology. Every habit has a structure, or kind-of loop. Something triggers it. Then comes the routine, the actual behavior. And finally, there's a reward, something that makes your brain say, "Yes, that was worth it. Let's do it again next time." That trigger could be an emotion, a place, a time of day, or even another action. The routine might be something as simple as biting your nails, or as complex as going to the gym. And the reward could be relief, pleasure, or just a sense of completion. What makes habits so powerful is that once the loop is formed, your brain craves the reward whenever the trigger appears. Imagine feeling stressed. If in the past you relieved stress by eating junk food, your brain starts to expect that reward whenever stress shows up. Before you even realize it, your hand is reaching for a bag of chips. Not because you're hungry, but because your brain has linked stress with food. This doesn't only apply to negative habits. It also applies to positive ones. If you train your brain to associate stress with taking a deep breath, or going for a walk, or writing in a journal, you can rewire the loop. The science of habits is really the science of rewiring your brain. You can't erase the loop entirely, but you can replace it with something new. And here's the key: repetition. Your brain doesn't care whether the action is good or bad. It only cares whether you repeat it. Repetition is the language of habits. The more times you repeat a behavior in the same context, the more natural it feels, until one day you don't even have to think about it. That's why consistency beats intensity. One small action, repeated daily, is far more powerful than a huge effort done once in a while. The challenge is that habits sneak in quietly. You don't always notice them forming. Checking your phone every few minutes starts as a small distraction, but soon it's an unconscious routine. Skipping the gym once feels harmless, but repeat it enough times and it becomes the new normal. The brain doesn't judge. It just learns patterns. That's why awareness is the first step to changing habits. You have to shine a light on the patterns that run your life. Start noticing what triggers your routines. Pay attention to what you do automatically. Ask yourself, when I feel this way, what do I usually do? When I'm in this place, what action do I take without thinking? Once you see the loop, you can begin to take control of it. But here's where most people get stuck. They try to break a habit by simply telling themselves to stop. The problem is, your brain hates a vacuum. If you take away the routine without replacing it, the craving still exists. The trigger still happens. The brain will keep searching for something to fill that space. That's why replacement works better than resistance. Don't just fight the old habit, build a new one in its place. Imagine every habit as a groove carved into your brain. The more you follow it, the deeper it gets. You can't erase the groove, but you can carve a new one. At first, walking a new path feels unnatural, awkward, even frustrating. But with time and repetition, that new path becomes smoother, easier, and eventually automatic. This is why habits shape identity. Every time you repeat a behavior, you're casting a vote for the type of person you are becoming. When you show up to exercise, even for 10 minutes, you're reinforcing the identity of someone who values health. When you choose to read instead of scrolling endlessly, you're reinforcing the identity of someone who learns and grows. Habits aren't just actions, they are proof of who you are becoming. And here's something incredible. Small habits compound. One little choice, made daily, doesn't seem like much in the moment. But over time, it snowballs. Eating one unhealthy meal doesn't change your body. Eating unhealthy every day creates a lifestyle. Reading one page doesn't make you smarter. Reading every day changes the way you think. Success and failure are often just the result of tiny habits, repeated over long periods of time. So, if you want to change your life, you don't have to start with massive transformations. You don't need to change everything overnight. You need to start small. Replace one routine. Change one loop. Build one new identity through consistent action. Over time, the brain rewires. What once felt impossible starts to feel natural. What once required effort becomes effortless. That's the science of habits. They're not just quirks of human behavior. They are the invisible architecture of your life. They determine what you eat, how you move, how you think, how you spend your time, and ultimately, who you become. And here's the most empowering truth. Habits are not fixed. They are flexible. They are teachable. You can shape them the way you want. You have the power to design your life by designing your habits. Now that you understand how habits work, the real question is, how do you use this knowledge to take control of your life? How do you stop habits that hold you back and build the ones that move you forward? The answer isn't in sudden bursts of motivation, it's in designing your environment and your routines so that good habits become easier and bad habits become harder. The first step is clarity. Write down one habit you want to change or one habit you want to build. Be specific. Don't just say, I want to be healthier. Say, I want to drink a glass of water every morning. Don't just say, I want to read more. Say, I will read one page before bed. Vague goals lead to vague actions. Specific goals create clear habits. The second step is to focus on triggers. Remember, every habit begins with a cue. If you want to build a new habit, link it to something you already do. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will floss. After I pour my coffee, I will write one line in my journal. By stacking a new habit onto an existing one, you piggyback on a routine your brain already knows. That's how you sneak good habits into your life. If you want to break a bad habit, work on the trigger too. Remove the cue that sets it off. If you constantly snack while watching TV, Move the snacks out of reach or replace them with something healthier. If you waste hours scrolling on your phone before bed, charge your phone in another room. Don't fight the habit directly, make the trigger harder to reach. The third step is rewards. Your brain repeats what feels rewarding. If you want a habit to stick, make the reward immediate and satisfying. For small habits, the reward can be as simple as checking a box on a calendar, celebrating the win out loud, or allowing yourself a small moment of pride. Don't underestimate this. Every time you acknowledge the win, you teach your brain, yes, this is worth repeating. On the flip side, if you want to stop a habit, make the reward less appealing. For instance, if scrolling on your phone late at night makes you feel groggy in the morning, remind yourself of that feeling before you reach for it. Rewire your brain to associate the habit not with pleasure, but with pain. The fourth step is starting small. Most people fail because they aimed big, too fast. They try to overhaul their entire life in 1 week. But the brain resists sudden change. Instead, think of the smallest possible version of your new habit. Want to run every morning? Start by just putting on your running shoes. Want to meditate? Start with 1 minute. The point isn't the size of the habit, it's consistency. Small actions done daily grow into powerful routines. And finally, identity. This is the deepest level of habit change. Don't just focus on what you want to achieve, focus on who you want to become. If you want to quit smoking, don't just say, I'm trying to stop. Say, I'm not a smoker. If you want to start exercising, don't say, I'm trying to go to the gym. Say, I'm the kind of person who moves their body every day. Each habit you repeat reinforces that identity. Over time, the way you see yourself changes. And once your identity shifts, your habits naturally follow. Think of it this way. Your habits are like votes. Every time you repeat an action, you're casting a vote for the type of person you are. No single vote defines the outcome, but over time a dynamic wins. Do you want to be someone who wastes time or someone who values growth? Someone who gives up easily or someone who stays consistent? Every choice you make is a ballot. Every action is proof. This is why habits are so powerful. They're not about discipline alone. They're about designing a system where the actions you want to take become natural, automatic, inevitable. Imagine this, a year from now. You wake up and realize that without even thinking about it, you've built the life you once dreamed of. You're healthier, sharper, more focused, more confident, not because of one giant leap, but because of tiny steps repeated day after day. That's the power of habits. That's the science of change. So ask yourself, what small action can I start today that my future self will thank me for? What trigger can I change? What reward can I redesign? What identity can I step into? You don't need to wait for a perfect moment. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to take the first step and repeat it until it becomes who you are. Remember, you are not stuck. You are not defined by your old patterns. You are capable of rewiring your brain, one habit at a time. And if you choose carefully, those habits will lead you to a version of yourself you didn't even know was possible. That's the science of habits. That's why we do what we do. And now, you have the power to choose what you do next. You see, habits are not chains that lock you in place. They are tools. They are pathways. They are the quiet architects of your future. And the best part, you are the designer. Every single day, you hold the pen. You get to decide whether your habits build you up or slowly tear you down. Think about it. Your future isn't decided in one dramatic moment. It's created in the smallest choices, repeated again and again. The decision to wake up 5 minutes earlier. The decision to say no when it's easier to say yes. The decision to start today instead of waiting for tomorrow. These choices may feel small, almost invisible, but stacked together, they become destiny. You feel einstuck. If you feel like your old patterns keep dragging you backward, remember sis, you are only one decision away from a different path. One new habit, practiced daily, can shift the entire course of your life. It might not happen overnight. It might not even feel like it's working at first. But every repetition is a brick in the foundation of the person you're becoming. So don't wait for motivation to show up. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. Start with one small action. Repeat IT. Protect IT. Grow IT. And watch how it transforms you. Because in the end, your habits decide your story. They decide whether you stay the same or rise higher. They decide whether you keep circling in the same loop or break free into a new identity. The science of habits shows. You ask something simple but profound. You are not trapped by who you were yesterday. You are shaped by what you repeatedly do today. And today is in your hands. So, choose wisely. Choose with purpose. Choose the habits that make you stronger, sharper, and unstoppable. Because the truth is this: your future self is waiting for you. And the only way to meet them is to build the habits that take you there. And remember, these habits aren't just what you do. Habits are who you become. Build the right ones, and you'll build the life you've always dreamed of. If this message sparked something inside you, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it, because someone you know might need to hear it right now. And if you want more content like this, hit subscribe and join this journey of understanding the mind and mastering your habits. Each video is another step forward. Comment below and tell me what's the one habit you're starting today, because your words might inspire someone else to begin their change too.